How you doing? Today I want to show you how to glue this. This is a little piece of Wenge molding for a flag display that's made out of hard rock maple. Now before you start saying, oh, you can't do that, it's going to expand different, it really doesn't matter. It's so small. These are like maybe quarter by quarter pieces of Wenge. And the way I got these pieces was to rip them out of a larger piece, which was this guy. I ripped a strip off that was a 1/4 inch thick. Then I took that strip and ripped it into these. And once I did that, I sized them accordingly. And in terms of angles, you know, mine are butted down here. So everything's 45 degrees. If you were to miter these, you'd have to have a 22.5 degree miter. And I just want to show you this. Now I'm going to glue this in with Type-On 2 that I got in a little tube here. And I've got these sized, the way I size these is just slightly oversized. So there's no gaps at all in terms of from point to point, but also you don't want to have them oversized to the point where they're crushing the sides, which they'll do. So what I'm going to do now is pull this out, and then you're just going to watch me glue this in. I'm going to tack it down with a couple quick grips, clean the glue out real quick with water, and then tape it heavily and then clamp it, and then I'll be done. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to take this out first. It is tight. 2. Okay. I'll do this guy first. Now all I'm going to do is spread a heavy layer on this. Not too heavy. Ugh. This will all clean up in a second. And just a little bit of glue on the miters. Now when I'm gluing this in, the key is making sure that I'm flush with the edge. You can stick over a little bit, but you really want to be flush because this is going to hold a piece of glass. So the first thing is I'll get this guy set. Now, I got everything here that I need. I'm not going to panic. I'm just going to take my time. I'm just going to tack this down real quick. Just get a couple pieces of tape on here to hold it flush with the edge. Now I've got everything prepped, and I suggest you do the same for all glue ups. That's looking pretty good. So I don't have glue spread on anything else, so I don't have to worry. And this can kind of tack itself up. 15 minutes with yellow glue. This is Type-On 2. So top clock's ticking. Okay, a little more than tacking it up. So we'll move on to the next ones. Just gonna clamp it right here. Just attack that. I'm just going to leave this top part out for a second because I want to put this triangle in together. Just make sure you get the whole surface covered. You should see squeeze out, it's not a problem. And I'm going to clean all that up in a second anyways. Tack that. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these miters together, and what I have to do is flex these out without breaking them, and keeping them flush here at the same time. Just a little bit. Okay, I can live with that. Okay, now I'm gonna tack it down and clean it up. And then after I get it cleaned up, making sure I'm flush here. You could be over a little bit, but you don't want the parts to be misaligned like this because they're gonna hold a piece of glass. So you just gotta be, it's gotta be close. It's not the end of the world if it's off a little bit. But if it is off a lot, it will be a little bit of a problem. So you want to be pretty accurate. Now I don't think you can see it, but I'm getting just a tiny bit of squeeze out. That's very good. Now the clock's ticking, and I gotta make sure I get my clamps on here now, so that's what I'm gonna do. And then what I'll do is I'll flip it up and clean it. Almost done. Everything in woodworking, you got to be very patient. The black wood is called Wenge. It's from Africa, and it will glow when it's got finish on it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is clamp everything. And you can never have too many clamps. So in terms of clamp pressure, the easiest way to figure it out is if you were to draw a center line down each clamp, you would draw a 45-degree angle out. And as long as your next clamp intersects that line, you're far enough away and you'll get good clamp pressure. That's just a little tip. Okay, so I'm going to work these around, making sure my edge is good, and if it isn't, I'm going to adjust it. And for a second, what I'm going to do is flip this guy. If I can, need enough room. Put this guy here. Let me put a little guy here. And then now I'm going to use a combination of tape and the rest of my clamps to get this guy. Probably can transfer some clamps from here. I got a dead spot right here. So what I'll do is this. Drop this over to here. And then I'll just finish the rest off with tape because my seams look really good. It's just I want to make sure everything's covered in orange. Well, just before I do that, I'm going to turn this around and clean this out real quick. And I'm just going to use a little bit of, just a little water and acid, a little acid brush. And just getting this little bit of glue out of here will save you hours of work. It really doesn't take that long to do. It's not the end of the world. If you leave it in there, you have to just use your chisel to get it out, but especially work on the corners. And what I'm going to do is wipe it out just real quick. And that looks good. Then I'm just going to fill it with tape. Any gap that I can get tape in, I'm going to tape everything. And then I'm using the tape like a clamp, like I'm pulling. Okay, well, everything's looking good. My seams are tight. That's really all you want. And when I'm putting this tape on, I'm overlapping it about a half a width, and that ends up acting like a clamp. And you can get away with that on small stuff. Production uses it all the time for folding miters and stuff like that. I think this is the Gorilla tape, and it's heavier than the blue stuff. So I'm just going in between the clamps. Just a couple more spots. And I probably could shed these, kind of getting in the way. Just a couple more pieces and I'm good. I always go over. Last thing you want is a gap. It's kind of a pain if you, especially on this fussy stuff. Get this guy out of the way, flip him around. Maybe move him down to here. And this is just a little edging detail that's going to hold the glass for this flag display. That's all I'm doing. And trust me, it will be there for life. If you try to take it off, you destroy this once the glue is sealed, which is pretty much now, because we'll pass the 15-minute mark. But see, I just slowly work my way around till I wrap it tight. And I'll get all the way up to each clamp, and then I'll call it good. A couple more pieces. Right here. Right here. Get in there. And that's it. I only needed that many clamps. Thanks for watching.